So I'm Matt Cordry, and I'm Director of Hardware Engineering here at Facebook. I lead the group that builds and develops the hardware, the servers, the storage, and the racks that Facebook uses to run our website.
Can you tell me about the process of prototyping a new server?
Usually it starts on a whiteboard, like so many things do, and then oftentimes they run down here and start building a hack. We're in the mechanical lab right now, which is a fun spot because it's where a lot of our early innovation takes place. This is a lot like your high school shop. We have the sheet metal benders and the bandsaws and the table saw and all the fun, dangerous toys that we normally give to high school students, but in this case, we let our engineers play with. And this is where we play with our early ideas. You know, we do a lot of early work in just bending sheet metal, cutting balsa wood or plywood, gluing things together, because a lot of it is really understanding how a new design might function at scale, how humans interact with it, and how the technology lays into a new enclosure or a new form factor. There are so many people in our industry who design servers yet have never seen a production data center. They've never been out to one, and they really don't know what the real experience is and what the opportunities are. You need to know very well the people who use your product. You need to know the experience you're creating. It is insufficient to just write a paper about it, or to have somebody else write a paper and you read it. You really need to walk a mile in their shoes. You know, some people follow that straight and narrow path with an engineering degree and right into an engineering job, and I was not one of those people. It started when I was actually, even in middle school, a friend of mine's dad was a real tinkerer. This is early days of like IBM PCs in the 80s. And I'd go over to my friend's house and we'd try to fix them. And that led to my first job, which was computer repair. So my high school job was working at the local PC repair shop, you know, fixing old IBM PCs and 286s and, you know, some really old clunky gear. But that's how I really built a passion for computer hardware. When I was looking at college, I'd met with a friend of my dad's over at Microsoft, and his advice was actually to not get a computer science degree. He said, you know, we see tens of thousands of 4-point GPA computer science grads every year, and bluntly, that's a very hard way to get into Microsoft. And he said, go take a year of computer science, learn the basics, teach yourself the rest, and go learn something you can apply. Go learn some other skill that works with computers that adds a little more depth to what you do. And so my passion had been photography for a long time. And so I actually went after a photography degree and, you know, took a background in computer science and math while I was in college. But then I dropped out.
So you didn't finish?
I didn't finish, no. And as a matter of fact, I have 1/4 left of my degree.
I'd imagine at your level doing server engineering for Facebook, there aren't very many people that you could get advice from, or am I wrong?
Our industry for a long time was so siloed. Data center operators just didn't talk. The great part about OCP, the Open Compute project we've built, is we've, for the first time, created a community where data center operators and industry leaders can come together, because at the end of the day, no one wants to do duplicative work. We want to do the innovative work. And if we spend all our time reinventing the wheel, and Microsoft's reinventing the wheel because no one's sharing their wheel design, we all go slower. If we can share the wheel design, if we can get off the ground on the basic stuff, then the innovation just speeds up.
I'm going to take over your job tomorrow, and I'm just starting from scratch. What's the most important thing I need to know? How do I prepare?
I see myself as more of a service role to the people on my team. And in fact, I draw org charts upside down. It's a silly detail, but I put myself on the bottom and I put the engineers on the top, because the way I see my world is I'm here to support them. The engineers are the ones who actually build things, and so for my job, it's a supporting role. So I think that's the first thing, and the second is really get to know the context of your work. Get to know, you know, the data center environment yourself. Get out there. I work as a technician, not just my engineers, but I'm actually out in the data center fixing servers myself. I do it multiple times per year. And so I think it's really important as the leader of the team to know why we're doing what we're doing, what problems we're solving, and broadly sort of what the overall mission of Facebook and the Facebook infrastructure team is.
Any one of these servers, any little thing could go wrong with it. Do you find yourself, are you a perfectionist? Do you have to be a perfectionist?
You really don't, actually. And in fact, perfection is the enemy of execution. If you're a perfectionist, you never build anything. And so we're hackers. We move really fast. We build creative things. But we also understand that there will always be concerns in the field. You'll always learn more. I always tell my team to reserve the right to be smarter tomorrow than you are today. And part of that is, if it's looking good, let's get some out in the field. Because in a way, we have the world's largest test lab. If you think of us as a hardware company, nobody has a bigger test lab than we do in terms of a data center environment where we can try things.
The whole company kind of think right out.
Yeah, so for some reason there's an issue.
What is the way that you kind of unwind and shut things off?
It's silly. I'm a nerd. And so for me, unwinding is more technology. I hack, I script, I code a little bit badly. Automating my house drives my wife crazy. Just learning how to sort of program little connected devices at home. Little things like that I love working on. And so when I go home, it's more technology in a lot of ways. It's playing with the fun little fiddly bits.